All right. So namaste everyone, and thank you for joining in this session on how to read a horoscope. So this is the second part of the session. We had already covered one session, that is the part one of this session, the last of last week. Recordings are there on YouTube. So if anyone wants to access that session, they can just go to YouTube and they can go to my channel and type the type the title of the video, how to read a horoscope part one. Okay, so what I see is that a lot of new people have joined in, right, from the previous batch. So what I'll do is basically I'll just go through a recap of what we had covered. Okay, I'll not explain in details because the explanation is already there in the it's already there in the video. So I'll just go with a recap of what we had discussed in the previous seminar. Okay. So I'm not sharing the screen as of for now. So the point is here, when we are reading a horoscope, this is the first stage is not about speaking to the client directly. Okay, the first stage is not about speaking to the client directly. What you are doing basically is that you are interpreting the horoscope in your own way. Okay, and whenever you are reading the horoscope, each reading will be different for different astrologers. Okay, because what will happen is the reading that you will be getting from an astrologer, that would be according to the own perception of the astrologer, as well as according to the spiritual maturity of the astrologer. Okay, and then you might get a different reading from the same astrologer if you are visiting that astrologer, say after a period of 1 year. Why? Because the person might have, the person would have spiritually and not may have been very the person would be spiritually evolving in a way. Okay, so we are all changing. So something that an astrologer had predicted a year ago might be quite different from what he would be predicting now. Okay, so you have to give room, or you have to leave room for that perception or human error, that sense that we are going through or that we are looking at. Okay, so I'll just highlighting the first thing, the things that I had shared in the last video. So the first step to the interpretation would be to recite with an initial Ganesha mantra. Okay, and that mantra would be Om Hrim Jyotir Ganeshaya Namaha. That is the first initial mantra, Ganesha mantra, that you will recite while opening the chart. Okay, so you must remember that you are not yet speaking to the client. You're just having a quick glance at the chart. Okay, so why Ganesha is worshipped? Ganesha is worshipped because as an astrologer, you need to eliminate the mistakes that might come into your reading because of the position of your Ketu in the chart. Okay, that is how you look at it. Then Ganesha is also worshipped for making the mathematical calculations. We know that nowadays we have the facility of using software that gives us very quick calculations, instant calculations, that is. But in the olden days, we did not have, that. The astrologers did not have that facility. Okay, so Ganesha is also worshipped so that the mathematical part of the reading is accurate or is correct to a large extent. Okay. Then we worship the sun either with the Gayatri mantra if you are initiated, okay, or you say Om Namah Suryaya, so that you are getting the power to look into the chart, because the sun is the main Karaka for Jyotish. All right, the sun is the main Karaka for Jyotish, and worshipping the sun ensures that you are blessed with the ability to look into the chart. Okay, so that is the second step, the second mantra, right? And then the third mantra is, of course, the Guru mantra. Okay, if you have a Diksha Guru, very good. Chant the Guru mantra that has been given by your Diksha Guru. If not, then a simple Om Gurave Namaha would do. Okay, it is not Om Guruve Namaha. This is a common mistake that even most learned astrologers do. Okay, it is Om Gurave Namaha, right? So you have to recite Om Gurave Namaha and not Om Guruve Namaha. Right, so these are the three mantras that you will be doing. And now the point is, while doing the Guru mantra, if you think that Om Gurave Namaha is not for you, then you can recite Namah Shivaya. Okay, not Om Namah Shivaya, but just Namah Shivaya, right? So that mantra will also work beautifully. Okay, so that is the first step. Now the second step is to look for the placement and situation of Lagna and Lagnesha. Okay, look at the position of the Lagna as well as the Lagnesha, right? That means The Lagna will show you the personality, the guna, and the general makeup of the individual. And planets placed there will have a heavy influence on your thought process, okay, on your decision making ability, right? Again, the placement of the Lagnesha will show the direction in which the person will apply their intelligence. Okay, so it is very important that the Lagnesha is well placed, because all the yogas have to fructify only when the Lagnesha, all the yogas will fructify rather when the Lagnesha participates. Okay, so this is the second step. So please note that you are not yet speaking to the clients. Okay, you're just feeding information into the mind to know the positions. Okay, and by positions, what you will do in the next step is that you will check the planets and houses. Okay, you will notice the placement of planets and houses, then you'll notice their signs and how strongly placed they are. Okay, so by doing this, you are visualizing the chart as a yantra that is entering both the conscious as well as the subconscious mind. Okay, so this is the third step of things, right? Then you will notice the yogas. Okay, you'll look at the yogas that are present in the chart. Okay, so the conjunction of two or more planets will give a stronger yoga than the mere aspect of planets. Okay, the conjunction between two or more planets will be a stronger yoga as compared to the aspects. Okay, so aspects is just like you are telling a person what to do or what not to do, but conjunction is when you are forcing a person to act or to behave in a certain way. So we'll be looking at all the planetary yogas that are being formed by by conjunction or by aspect, right? Then you will look at the nakshatra of the moon. Okay, you will look at the moon's nakshatra, and that will determine the flavor of the individual mind. Okay, whatever flavor the individual's mind is happening, that will be determined from the moon nakshatra, right? So suppose the moon is conjunct another planet, then that planet or the houses ruled by that planet will have a very definite impact on the thinking mind of the person. Okay, so all the suppose we are looking at a chart, say Capricorn ascendant, moon has joined Mars. Okay, so the house is ruled by the Mars. That means the house is ruled by Mars. That means the first house and the 11th house will have a definite, will have a definite role to play in the overall thinking of the person. Okay, so you'll also look at the house where the moon is placed. For example, suppose the moon is placed in the 9th house, then then you can assume, or then you can predict that the person would be interested in the higher philosophical aspects of astrology. Okay, suppose the moon is in the the moon is in the 8th house or in the 6th house, then you must be very careful regarding whatever things you are saying to the client. Okay, that is how you look at it, right? Then after looking at the nakshatra of the moon, right, after looking at the nakshatra of the moon, you will also see you'll also see which element, or which which element is more dominant in the native. Okay, so we have four types of constitutions, right? We have four type of constitutions. We have the vata element, which is, we have the vata constitution, right, where the native will be dominated by the Vayu element. We have Pitta constitution, where the native will be dominated by the by the fire element. We have Kapha constitution, where the native will be dominated by the water element. Okay, and then we have the mixed constitution, where the native will be dominated by all the elements, right? So your your predictions have to vary according to the constitution, the Ayurvedic constitution of the native. Okay, for example, Vata people, they like to hear things quickly. Okay, so what you'll do is that as an astrologer, you'll need to speak faster, and then maybe you'll just repeat yourself more than once. Okay, similarly, Pitta constitution people, because they are ruled by the fire element, they will like to go deep into one area of the chart. Okay, so as an astrologer, if you are encountering someone with a very strong Pitta constitution, then you will actually let go of control and allow them to lead you to the areas they wish to discuss. Okay, that is about Pitta constitution people. And then for Kapha constitution, the people who are water dominated, they will be slow to understand things, but they will remember well. Okay, so as an astrologer, you have to understand that with Kapha constitution people, you have to speak very slowly and clearly, so that you can get that idea injected into their into their minds. Okay, so the mode of rituals that you will recommend will also depend on the constitution of the person that you are seeing. Okay. For example, Vata people will easily make changes in their life, right? Similarly, Pitta people must be told the logical remedy behind, behind why logic behind why the remedy is given. Okay. And then you might find that your suggested remedy is slow to work for Kapha dominated people because they are slow to make changes, right? So for a Kapha dominated client, you have to focus on inspiring them to begin a remedy and then telling them the importance of it. So that is how you will do it. Okay. And then the last point that we had discussed is about sensitivity. Okay. The last point that we had discussed is about sensitivity. So the astrologer, he or she must take into account the situation of the client that they are reading. So that is one way of doing it. You have to know about you have to be sensitive to the emotional needs of the client. Okay. You must always advise without making the person feel like they are doomed. Okay. Because the word fate is actually, it implies that your life has already been destined by God and there is nothing that you can change it. So as an astrologer, you should never give that perception to the clients, although we know that everything is predestined. Okay. But you must never make the person feel that they are being doomed by some type of karma. Okay. So in a way that you have to speak that it allows the person to feel that your free will is more important, so that they can digest the information that you are providing to them. So this is something we had discussed in the last class basically. So now we will be taking the next part of it. Okay, we'll be going to the next points that we'll be discussing today. Okay, so how to read a horoscope part 2, right? So we just had a brief recap of what we did in part 1. So I've put the point number 7 because in the part 1 we had discussed 6 points. So I'm continuing from point number 7. Okay, so what you'll do is that you will look at the Atma Karaka and the Arudha Padas. So what is Atma Karaka? Atma Karaka is the planet with the highest degree in the horoscope. Okay, some people will decide on the 7 Karaka scheme. Some people will decide on the 8 Karaka scheme. Both of them are correct. Of course, I follow the 8 Karaka Charakaraka scheme. Okay, but nevertheless, even taking the 7 Charakaraka scheme is not incorrect. Okay. So look at the individual Atmakaraka as this will influence their inner being and soul desires. So the house where the Atmakaraka is placed is extremely, extremely important. Okay. For example, if someone's Atmakaraka is placed in the 3rd house, then what happens? For that person, self-effort or parakrama, right? Self-effort or parakrama becomes very, very important. Traveling will be very, very dear to that person. Okay. Suppose the Atmakaraka is placed in the 4th house, then family becomes very, very important. Home becomes very, very important. Mother becomes very, very important. So this is the house on fire. Okay. The house where the Atmakaraka is placed is like the house on fire, right? And this will actually reflect the desire of the soul, right? So for example, a Venus Atmakaraka will enjoy art, beauty, and sensuality in their life. A Saturn Atmakaraka will focus on the suffering of life and its elevation or increase. So you have to see which planet is becoming the Atmakaraka. Usually, if a benefic is becoming an Atmakaraka, things will not be that tough. Okay, but if a malefic is becoming Atmakaraka, it will show you a tough time during its dasha. For example, if it is a Saturn Atmakaraka, then during that dasha of the Atmakaraka, at one point of time you will see lack of money or maybe poverty also, depending on how Saturn is placed. Okay, retrograde Atmakaraka, things are more difficult. Okay, if Atmakaraka becomes retrograde, things will be more difficult, right? So this Atmakaraka will provide a way to look at the individual's Atma, and then you will note the other Charakarakas. Okay, the other Charakarakas will be as important as the Atmakaraka, particularly the Dharakaraka. Okay, because the Dharakaraka is indicative of the spouse. Okay, and once you are married, right? Once you are married, the spouse becomes a very important part of your life. Dharakaraka is also important for your finances. Okay, Dharakaraka is also important for your finances. For example, if the Dharakaraka is going to the is going to the 2nd house, then it can cause a very difficult situation which related to finances. Okay, similarly, if sun has become the Darakaraka, then sun, and suppose sun has become the Darakaraka and sun is at 0 degrees, okay, suppose 0.5 degrees. In that case, that sun is also suffering from Sankranti dosha. Okay, so that sun is also suffering from Sankranti dosha. So you have to first remedify the sun before getting married. Right, you'll see the sun as Darakaraka, and then you will tell that okay, during Saturn, during Surya Dasha, or during the Dasha of, Dasha of Aries, or maybe Dasha of Leo, you're getting married. But then if the person has not done remedial measures with respect to Sankranti dosha, then there would be a lot of difficult things to encounter. Okay, so you have to see what you are suggesting to the client, and please know that we at this stage we have not yet started speaking to the client. Okay, we have not yet started speaking to the client. This is a mental checklist that you are making while looking at the chart. Check if there are any Charakaraka replacements happening by planets being in the same degree. So this is a rule by Parashara. Okay, he says that you can use the 8 Charakaraka scheme only when there are 2 planets having the same degree. But this is a very rare case which does not really happen. Okay, so if he says, or Parashara says that if 2 planets are in the same degree, then what you will do is that you will consider Rahu as Atmakaraka. Otherwise, no. Okay, so look at the Arudha Lagna to see how people perceive the person. So Arudha Lagna is also very, very important. So for those who are new here, we are doing a class every Saturday on Arudha Lagna. We have covered we have covered a couple of classes, right? We have covered a couple of classes. We have done till the 3rd house from Arudha Lagna. So you can join in this Saturday to know more. Okay. So Arudha Lagna is all about your perception, the image that you are creating, the brand that you have before the people in the world. Okay, so look at positions from the Arudha Lagna to see how they are interacting with the society. Okay, so placements from the Arudha Lagna will indicate how you are, how you are interacting with the society. For example, Venus and Mercury, the Rajas Grahas, if they go to the 6th from Arudha Lagna, the person would be least interested in wealth. Okay, the person would be least interested in wealth. Similarly, suppose the Arudha Lagna Lord is placed 9th from the Arudha Lagna, then success is indicated. So that is how you will, that is how you will look at it. Okay, see placement of other Bhavapadas. Bhavapadas means you will have Arudha Padas of all the 12th houses. Okay, so the Arudha Pada of the first house, the Arudha Pada of the Lagna is known as Arudha Lagna. Similarly, the Arudha Pada of the 2nd house is known as A2. The Arudha Pada of the 7th house is known as A7. Similarly, the Arudha Pada of the 12th house or A12 is also known as Upapada. Okay, so you have to see all how everything is placed or how everything is coming together in the chart, right? If the Bhavapadas are conjunct important yogas, then the people indicated by these Bhavapadas will help achieve these good results or harmful events. So this is an important point to note if the Bhavapadas are conjunct important yogas. For example, suppose Mars and Venus are conjunct in A6. Okay, that means the Rogapada or the Shatrupada. Okay, suppose Mars and Venus are conjunct in A6 and then the person gets married. In that case, the activation of Venus will actually activate the, actually activate the Shatrupada. That means after marriage, all of a sudden you might find your family, you might find your enemies increasing all the while. Okay, then suppose the Arudha Pada of the 11th house, that means A11. Okay, that means A11, it is having Jupiter. So you might feel that after the birth of your first child, or after the birth of children, or maybe after marriage, all of a sudden your wealth or your sources of income has increased. So that is the way how you look at it. Okay, so these Bhavapadas, they can give a lot of results to show, right? So with these two areas, you are looking at the inner soul nature of the person and outer soul nature, social nature, to get a well-rounded view of how they operate in life. So the Karaka for the, the Karaka for the Lagna is the sun, right? And the Karaka for the Arudha Lagna is the moon. Okay, so the sun, it represents the soul nature, and the moon, it represents the social nature. Okay, and sun is also acting as a natural Atmakaraka. Okay, so by looking at the Atmakaraka, you are actually getting a view of the soul nature of the person. And similarly, by looking at the Arudha Lagna or the Lord of the Arudha Lagna, you're actually getting a view of the social nature of that person. Okay, So the other Charakarakas will indicate the soul nature of other people in their life, and the Bhavapadas will indicate their interaction with these people on the social level. So the other Charakarakas will include the soul nature of people in their life. So for example, suppose you have Jupiter as Darakaraka, then the spouse will be very, very soft spoken, will be very, very learned and educated. Okay, suppose you have, you have a, say you have Mars as Bhatrokaraka. In that case, your siblings may be very, very aggressive. Okay, so that is how you will look at the chart, right? All right, so this is my favorite part of it, curses and blessings. Okay, so this is something that can make or break a chart, right? This is something that can make or break a chart. So curses and blessings. Look for curses and blessings. Bhadrakaraka. I have not heard about Bhadrakaraka, Pikong. It could be something else. Bhatrokaraka could be Bhatrokaraka, but not Bhadrakaraka. So curses and blessings. Look for curses and blessings. Blessings are caused by the aspect or conjunction of two or more benefics. Curses are created by the aspect or conjunction of two or more malefics. For example, specifically Saturn, Rahu, and Mars. So you have to look at the chart carefully for the curses and blessings that are coming from the chart. Okay, so one thing you have to, understand that both curses and blessings will come from the benefics. The malefics will not, will not bless, they will not curse as well. Only the benefics can bless or curse. Okay, so if two or more malefics, especially Saturn, Rahu, and Mars, are having an impact on one benefic, then it can say that, it can be said that the benefic is cursing the native. Okay, for example, suppose you have a Guru Chandala Yoga in the 5th house, and then Saturn is aspecting that Jupiter and Rahu. In that case, Jupiter is cursing the native. So that is how you look at it. Okay, so if a planet is afflicted by malefics, its natural significations will suffer in this life and it will need to be remedied. So this again applies to malefics as well. Okay, suppose you have a Ketu and you have Saturn and Mars together with Ketu. In that case, it is known as the curse of Ketu. That means Ketu is cursing. Okay, Ketu is not cursing, but Ketu is getting cursed. So what will happen in that case is that that person will never find support from members of his own community. That means maybe he will be orchestrated by his community, or maybe he will be thrown out from his community, right? So even the malefics can get under curse. Okay, but then if the malefics are getting under curse, it is much difficult to remedy the curse as compared to what the benefit is getting, or the benefic is getting into. Okay. Likewise, if Saturn, Mars, and Venus is there, then Venus will be cursing. Yes, the benefic will always curse. The malefic will not curse. Okay. So Parashara talks about curses in the Purva Janma Sapad Yotana Adhyaya. Okay. Purva is previous, Janma is birth, Sapad is, Sapad is curse, and Yotana stands for Yatana. That means difficult situations. Okay. Difficult situations, physical and mental turmoil. Okay, or physical and mental trauma. That is how you look at it. And then Adhyaya is chapter. For a curse to give its full results, it must be associated with the Atmakaraka, the 8th Lord, or the Lagnesha. So if you are coming across a curse in the chart, it has to be, you must see whether that curse is being associated with the Atmakaraka, the 8th Lord, or the Lagnesha. If not, then that is good news. Okay. If the Lagnesha is involved, then the person has a direct physical experience of the curse's suffering. Okay, so if the Lagnesha is associating with the curse, okay, suppose Saturn is a Lagnesha, and then Saturn is with Guru and Rahu is aspecting from somewhere. In that case, the person will have a direct physical experience of the curse. Okay, so maybe, maybe the person is suffering from, say, diabetes, or maybe the person is suffering from, say, from a fatty liver. So that is how Guru is cursing the person, right? Maybe the person is being experiencing, say, difficult situations from the Guru, right? So that is how you will interpret it, right? If the 8th Lord is involved, then the person feels punished by the affliction. Okay, so if the 8th Lord is getting involved in that curse, what will happen is that affliction will be, very, very traumatic on the individual. Okay, it can cause trauma, mental and physical trauma on that individual. If the Atma Karaka is involved, then the suffering is felt deep in the person's soul and carried for a long, long time. So Atma Karaka involved in a curse, it indicates soul level suffering. Okay, Atma Karaka in the soul, in the curse, soul level suffering, and that curse can also be carried forward to the next life. So it's a very difficult curse to heal, so as to say. Now, when the curse is in a good house, the person has the ability to gain from the situation after experiencing the suffering of the curse. Okay, so this happened in the case of Sri Ram, right? So if the curse is in a good house, right? If the curse is in a good house, then the person will gain from the situation. Okay, this happens when a person created some negative situations in a past life without intending to do so. So suppose you did some negative karma in your past life, but that was unintentional. In that case, the benefit that will be cursing you will be actually placed in a good house. That means the curse is happening in a good house, and if that happens, you will actually have the ability to recover from the curse. Okay, and the situation after recovery will be very, very good, right? When a negative situation happens with malefic intention, the curse will be placed in a dusthana, and then the suffering will continue to be an issue even after the curse has given its results. So, you know, you will see people who are having a lot of trauma in their life. Suppose they are already suffering from a bad financial situation, and then all of a sudden, someone might discover that they have got cancer, or someone might discover that they have lost a leg or maybe a limb. So in that case, what will happening is that the curse is giving its results, and even after getting the full results, the physical or the mental trauma is continuing. So this happens when the curse is placed in a negative house. That means the Dushthanas 6, 8, and 12. Now you have to see how the benefics and malefics are placed. Okay, benefics are better when weak, if in a Dusthana, or strong in a Kendra. So for benefics, they should be, if they are placed in a Kendra, they should be strong. Okay, if they are debilitated in a Kendra, then gone, right? It is gone. The benefics are not giving you full results. But if benefics go to a Dusthana, they should be weak. Okay, they should be weak. When they are in a Kendra, they can do good and should be strong. When they are in a Dusthana, they will cause suffering, and the weaker they are, the less suffering they will cause. So if a benefic is going to a Dusthana, it should be weaker, because that will indicate, that will minimize the suffering that they are causing. Okay, malefics can do much harm in Kendras, so if they are placed there, they are better weak, but when they are in Dushthanas, they are better strong. Okay, so malefics, if they are placed in Dushthanas, they should be strong, but if they are placed in Kendras, they should be weak. And for malefics to give full materialistic results, if they are placed in a Kendra, they should be debilitated. Okay, they should be debilitated. Malefics, to give you, to give you material benefits, if they are placed in Kendras, they should be debilitated. Right? So suppose you are having a retrograde Mars. In that case, it is much better if that Mars is retrograde in either the 6th, 8th, or the 12th house. Right? Because retrograde means 3 times more powerful. Right? So malefic becoming powerful is ideally, or should be ideally, placed in a Dusthana. So you'll integrate, or you'll use this concept into the level of suffering that will occur, that a curse will cause. Okay. Yes, Dushthanas are 6th, 8th, and 12th. But particularly 6th and 8th, 12th is also a neutral house as per Parashara, but particularly 6th and 8th. Okay. I said that benefics, if they are placed in a Kendra, they better be placed strong. And if they are placed in a Dusthana, they should be weak. Opposite is the case with malefics. If they are placed in Dushthanas, they should be strongly placed. And if they are, if they are, right. So if malefics are placed in a, in a Kendra, they should better be weak, okay, or debilitated. In my opinion, malefics give best results if they are debilitated in Kendras. Okay, they give very good results. Then we look at Panchanga Lords. So this is something that we have been doing for almost 13 classes in the Panchanga Foundation course. But then Panchanga Lords are very, very important. Check the Panchanga for any dosha in the quality of time that require remedial measures. So what are the elements of the Panchanga? We have the Vara, which represents the Agni Tattva. We have Nakshatra, which represents the Vayu Tattva. We have Tithi, which represents the Jala Tattva. We have Karana, which represents the Prithvi Tattva. And finally, we have Yoga, which represents the Akash Tattva. So Panchanga is indicative of the quality of time that is there in the chart. Okay, so I've taught that repeatedly, that if the chart is very, very strong, but if the Panchanga Lords are weak, then you are going for a lot of problems. Okay. If the chart is strong, but the Panchanga Lords are weak, then there would be a lot of problems you will encounter. Okay. Then the good yogas will not fructify. Right. So you will, many a times you'll have people going to astrologers. Oh my God, I have so many, I have so many good planets in the Kendras and Trikonas, but still I'm not getting results. Then the simple solution is to check the Panchanga Lords, right? Because this thing is something, something that has gotten lost, right? If I ask a client, suppose a client is calling me and asking when I will find my next work, and I tell and I ask that client who is the Karana Lord, then the client will ask who is the Karana, what is Karana. Okay. So as astrologers, you must read the Panchanga daily. Okay. And before reading the chart of a client, you should always check the Panchanga, check the Panchanga that is there for the day, and you should have the Panchanga elements ready. You should have the lords of the Panchanga ready for your analysis. Then look at the quality of time to see where in the chart you will begin your reading and deeper focus. So take Lord of the Moon's Vimshottari Nakshatra and look at it in the Rashi. So whenever you are reading, whenever you are using Vimshottari Mahadasha, right, you will take the Lord of that Vimshottari Nakshatra and then look for it in the Rashi chart. Okay. For example, suppose you are going through the Mahadasha of Venus. So in that case, what you will do is that you will consider Venus to be the first house, Venus to be placed in the first house, and then read the chart from there. That is how you will do. Okay. Its placement will show health. The Vara Lord will show energy. See the Tithi Lord for relationship, Yoga for social connections, and Karana for career. So what you are doing is that the the Lord of the Vimshottari Dasha, for example, as I said, suppose you're running Venus Mahadasha, the placement of Venus will show your health. Okay. The Vara Lord will show you energy. For example, suppose you are born on a Monday, then you'll have to look at the position of Moon, how much energy you are having. The Tithi Lord will show relationship. So suppose the person is facing a lot of problems in relationships. The seventh lord is well placed. Maybe there is no affliction on the seventh lord. Then Jupiter and Venus are also well placed, but the problem is coming. Then you'll see the Tithi Lord for the relationship, for the status of relationship of that person. Then Yoga for social connections. How much can the person connect to others socially? Okay, that is the Yoga Lord. And then Karana for career. Right. So if one of these planets is weak or afflicted, then the area of life significated by the Panchanga Lordship will suffer. So for example, you may have a very good 10th Lord or well-placed Saturn, but if the Karana Lord is badly placed, or if the Karana Lord is under malefic influence, then career will suffer. Okay, so this is very, very important. Specifically, examine the relationship between Vara Lord and Lagna. Okay, so the Vara Lord and the Lagna, they should be well placed to each other. That means the Vara Lord should not be placed in 6th, 8th, or 12th from the Lagna. Okay, if so, then your energy is, your energy levels are decreasing, or your energy levels are not correct. Between Tithi Lord and the 4th house, so the Tithi Lord should be well placed from the 4th house. Okay, the Tithi Lord should be well placed from the 4th house, right? For example, if the Tithi Lord is placed 3 places away, suppose the Tithi Lord has gone to the 7th house. In that case, you will have to put a lot of effort in your relationships. Otherwise, the relationship will not survive, right? Between Nakshatra Lord and the 7th house. So, for example, the Nakshatra Lord rules the Vayu Tattva, and the 7th house is the house of partnerships. That is the place, that is the place where Saturn gets Digbala. So that the relationship between the Nakshatra Lord and the 7th Lord should be examined. For example, if the Nakshatra Lord is placed in the 6th house, okay, is placed in the 6th house, in that case, the person would be very, very fearful, in relationships and things like that, right? And then between Karana Lord and the 10th house, so you have to see how the Karana Lord is placed from the 10th house. So if they are placed in Dushthanas from these above indicated houses, then the chart will run into severe problems. Okay. All right then. So that is the end of the second part of this discussion. There is another part to go, which we will be doing next week. Okay. And for those who are attending today, I urge every one of you to join the class on Aradha Lagna this Saturday at 8 o'clock. So hopefully we'll have a lot of more inputs coming in. So I'm opening up this forum for your questions. If you have any questions, then please type it in the comment box, or maybe you can unmute yourself and ask those questions. Yes, Vara Lord. Vara Lord, the best remedy for Vara Lord is to fast on the day of the Vara Lord. Okay, but you have to be, you have to be really, really careful. If your Vara Lord is placed in the sixth house, then fasting will not work. Okay, then fasting will not work. So the best remedy, the easiest remedy that I can suggest for the Vara Lord is to fast on the day of the Vara Lord. Okay, on the day of the Vara Lord. That is the only thing. And for other remedies, you have to wait till the Panchanga masterclass ends, right? Till the masterclass ends, or before the ending of the masterclass, I'll discuss the remedial measures for each of the Panchanga elements, right? The other remedy would be to chant the word no, Ram, 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 Ram continuously for maybe a period of 15 to 20 minutes every day. So you are increasing the fire element. Okay, that is also a good remedy for the Vara Lord. Who is Atmakaraka? How to know? The highest degree planet in the horoscope will become the Atmakaraka. Okay, the highest degree planet in the horoscope will become the Atmakaraka. All right then. So I don't think we have any further questions coming in. Thank you everyone for joining in. The recordings will be shared on YouTube. Yes, the highest degree. The recordings will be shared on. Highest degree means you draw the you use the software to make the birth chart, then check the planets with your degrees. Okay, you'll have the highest degree planet that will become the Atmakaraka. 28 degrees is highest. Of course, 28 degrees is highest. All right then. Yes, Jupiter Atmakaraka. So thank you everyone for joining in. I'll be expecting to see all of you on Saturday. Okay, I'll be expecting to see all of you on Saturday for the class on Arudha Lagna. We have covered two parts of it. We'll be covering the third part this Saturday. And if anyone wants to go through the recordings of the previous classes on Arudha Lagna, please go to my YouTube channel, Jyotish108, Vedic Astrology for Everyone. Okay. Thank you everyone. I'll be ending the meeting. Om Gurave Namaha.